Okay, so I'm going to go through now and go through quickly throwing some materials on these gears and then animating them. So for simple materials, like just a solid color material, you can go right over here to the Materials Properties tab, and we can click a little plus right here, and we got a new material, and I'm going to name this one Red, and in its base color, I'm going to feed it a nice little, pardon me, red, and there we go. That's all there is to that. And thank you. Pardon me while I die. Select another gear here and hit a new material, and we'll call this one blue. And in its base color, we'll assign it a nice little blue, and whoop, there that is. And for this third gear, we'll give it a new material, and we'll name this one yellow. Call me mellow yellow. And I'll feed a nice little yellow color. Is it time to go play basketball, Logan? Feed it a nice little yellow color right there, and there we go. We've made three quick materials. Now, last thing I want to do is I want to animate these gears. One thing that's going to be really important for animating these gears, because getting them into position here, I had to rotate them a little bit in Z. Like the big gear got rotated in Z 6.3 degrees. The yellow gear got lucky, no rotation. But the blue gear also got a 22.9 degree rotation. For each of those gears that have a rotation that's not zero, I want to go ahead and reset their transforms. So I'm going to select this blue gear that's got a Z rotation of 22.9 degrees. I'm going to click on Object, Apply Rotation. And what you're going to notice now is the Z rotation for that object has now gone back to zero. I'm going to click on the red gear, which had a 6.3 degree rotation in Z. I'm going to click on Object and Apply and Rotation, and that one's also zeroed out to zero. Now, to rotate these gears, we're going to need to be able to see our timeline. So if you'll come down here and lift this bottom up a little bit so we can see the timeline. We're going to start here at frame 1. We're going to be ending at frame 240. And actually, I'm going to put it back at frame 0 here. So at frame 0, I want to keyframe. I want to set a keyframe for each of these gears. So with this gear set, I'm going to click this little dot right next to the Z rotation, and that lays down a keyframe. You can see there's a little yellow keyframe right there that represents that keyframe. I'm going to click the yellow gear. Notice the keyframe disappeared, but I'm also going to hit that little dot right next to the Z rotation, put a keyframe down for that yellow gear. And then I'm going to grab this red gear here, and I'm going to also set its Z rotation now on this first keyframe. Now everything else is going to happen at the other end of the timeline. At the other end of the timeline, on frame 240, at the very end, I want to take this first gear and I want to rotate it 3 full rotations. So just in case you're wondering how far 3 full rotations is, we would do 360 multiplied times 3, and we would get 3 full rotations is 1,080 degrees. So I'm going to rotate this one 1,080 degrees, and then once I hit my enter key, notice that the key turned yellow, and it's kind of like saying, hey, there's been a change here. To apply that change, I'm going to click this little diamond now, and that's going to lay down a keyframe at the end. And you could actually scrub through this. If you move the slider back, and if we hit the play button, you'll now see that gear is rotating. Now, we're going to deal with the way that it starts up slowly and builds up speed and then slows down at the end. So I'm going to stop that. I'm going to bring this slider all the way to frame 240, making sure it's set on frame 240. And I'm going to select the yellow gear. That one I'm going to rotate in the opposite direction, negative 1,080 degrees. And I'm also going to lay down a keyframe for that. Hit the play button and take a look at this. Now these two gears look like they're driving each other. That's okay. In fact, that's pretty cool. I'm going to pause it, run it to the end. And then lastly, this outer gear. Now, the way that this is rotating here, the outer gear is going to rotate in the same direction as the yellow gear. So, and because there are 24 teeth on the outer gear, there's 24 teeth on the outer gear, and there's 8 teeth on each of the smaller gears. 3 full revolutions of one of the smaller gears meshing with the big gear means that it's going to go through all 24 teeth. That means that the red gear on frame 240 is going to rotate a negative 360 degrees. And I'm going to keyframe that. Now, when I press the run button, everything's going to be looking like it's working, like these gears are all driving each other. And that's looking pretty nice. But there is one thing. They speed up and they slow down. In order to address that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mouse over the keyframe here, right-click it, and go to interpolation mode. And interpolation mode, I'm going to set it to linear. And I'm also going to do the same thing for the keyframe at the other end. Let me put that back on 0. And for this keyframe, I'm going to right-click it, and interpolation mode is going to be set to linear. Then I'm going to select the yellow gear. And again, I'm going to both keyframes. I'm going to right-click them, interpolation mode, linear. And I'm going to right-click, interpolation mode, and linear. I'm going to select the blue gear, and for its keyframe, interpolation mode, linear, and interpolation mode, linear. And now if I run this now, there's no more speed up or slow down. It's just steady. It just goes. It just runs. Even when the time slider goes from 240 to 0, it doesn't miss a beat. There's no lag or anything, no speeding up, no slowing down. It's just spinning like I would want it to. So that is a quick and dirty on keyframe animation in Blender. So we'll do an incremental save right here. So I'm going to do a save as, hit my little plus and hit save as, and I'll see you in the next video where I go over putting in the background. All right, thanks. Don't forget to like and subscribe.